Hi friends and future me. Do you know the task that you've been putting off for days? The uncomfortable thing that actually has been draining your energy just thinking about it? Well, that's your frog, and it's quietly sabotaging your momentum. For those who have not met me, I'm Shauna. I work a full-time job. I run a creative consultancy business, and I'm trying to build a YouTube channel and an e-commerce business at the same time. So I used to feel constantly busy, but rarely move forward. That changed when I finally learned to plan my days differently. In this video, I want to show you how I stopped procrastinating using the Eat the Frog method, and the biggest mistake I was making that was holding me back might be holding you back too. So the phrase Eat the Frog comes from a quote by Mark Twain. Eat the frog first thing in the morning, and nothing worse will happen to you in the day. In Brian Tracy's book, the frog is the most important, most uncomfortable, highest impact task. The one thing that if you do it, everything else will get easier or less urgent. We often procrastinate not because we are lazy, but because we're scared. We're scared of failing, scared of doing it wrong, or realizing that we might not be ready. I used to push off the hard stuff thinking I needed more time, more learning, or more preparation. But really, I was protecting my ego from the discomfort of starting. To stop procrastinating, I had to start identifying my real frogs, and here's how I do it. I ask myself these questions. If I could only do one thing today that moves me forward, what would it be? And what are the consequences if I don't do this? Because very often I feel that pain is our biggest motivation to take action and not so much a reward. And lastly, am I doing this to grow or just to feel busy? So it's very important to be able to identify which are frogs and which are tadpoles. Frogs to me are the important urgent tasks that you do, which will help to move the needle the most, whereas tadpoles are the small little tasks that tend to just take up your time and doesn't really help you to advance in your goals. So an example of a tadpole is like I could be watching a lot of YouTube tutorials, learning how to edit videos and how to script better videos. But the real frog is actually in planning and filming my own video. So tadpoles tend to make you feel productive, while frogs actually are the ones that move the needle. So this is important to be able to differentiate what are your tadpoles and what are your frogs. So I used to think that doing small tasks first would build the momentum, but by the time I got through my emails, my admin, and all the tiny little details, I felt like I was just too tired for my real work, and all my energy was gone. So nowadays, I try to find the real frog and do that first. If this is already shifting how you think about productivity, tap like and subscribe. I make videos to help entrepreneurs and side hustlers to share my experiences and my lessons that I've learned, hopefully to help you in your workflow. So I follow a 3-frog rule, and this has helped me to change everything. I allow myself only 3 major tasks a day, my frogs, and these are the biggest frogs that I try to eat. So I don't allow myself to sleep until I finish these 3 frogs, and that's the pain that actually drives my focus. The rest are just side goals to me or my tadpoles. They are totally optional, and if a tadpole becomes urgent the next day, it can grow into a frog tomorrow. So one of my biggest mistakes was what I call frog nibbling. When I was juggling everything, my job, my consultancy, the YouTube, the e-commerce business, I felt like I was nibbling at different frogs all day, but a little here, a little there, and nothing ever actually got done. So nowadays, I pick only one frog and I finish it first before touching the next one. So even if others are tempting, I will say no, because a half-eaten frog is still a frog. Now what happens if you encounter a task that is too big, or what I call an enormous frog? So it might feel overwhelming, and then you get into the temptation of trying to eat the tadpoles first to build up some momentum. So instead, I recommend to break down this frog into smaller bite-sized pieces. So for example, you could write a draft, you could film one scene, and then you could record the audio, you could do the editing another day. So I call these like half frogs, and it's actually the progress that counts towards eating the entire frog. So once I've committed to eating my frogs first, I stopped feeling so stuck. I started finishing my projects and I felt more focused again. It wasn't about being perfect, it was about being intentional. And here's a quick recap. A frog is your biggest, hardest, and most important task, and you need to do it first. Procrastination often masks your fear, but not your laziness. So ask the 3 frog finder questions to cut through the noise. Don't fall for the momentum myth. Busy doesn't equal to progress. Use the 3 frog rules to stay focused. Always say no to nibbling at multiple frogs. Only do the frogs one at a time. And if you have a giant frog, break it down into manageable chunks if needed. So imagine this. You sit at the table, all the frogs and tadpoles are on the table. Some are tiny, some are massive, and some are just plain hideous. The table is your day, your time, your energy. So the goal isn't to clear the table, it's to make the smartest use of your time and effort so that you have more table space for yourself. So what makes the most impact? The biggest, ugliest frog. The one that you're avoiding is probably the one that will free up the most space, relieve the most stress, and give you the clearest mental win. So here's a mistake that many of us make. We start with the tadpoles. We tell ourselves that we're just warming up, but by the time we're full from those easy wins, there's no room or focus left for what really matters. So discipline means saying no to the smaller frogs so you can finish the one that actually makes a difference. Most frogs aren't that bad. Once you start it, the fear is actually louder than the task. So start scared, but just start. I'd love to hear about your frogs that you have lined up for tomorrow, so please drop it in the comments. And if you want to learn more about how I buy back my time so I can eat more frogs, the ones that actually move me forward, you might like to consider watching this video. Bye!